Can you hear me here? Eric, can you hear me? Come on. Eric Brown,
You can't hear me.
can
Hey,
you hear
Jim.
me?
I'm on mute, but oh, hold on.
Eric, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, and welcome to. There we go. There we go. So, good evening, everyone. This is Detroit in Black and White presents Reality Strikes with Eric Brown. Well, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. You can take yourself off mute, Gary.
You hear me now?
Yeah, keep getting some background feedback. Hey, how you doing, Kamal?
Good, how you doing? Am I still backstage?
Is that a fake
No, you
background?
good because we could just run it this way because the regular producer is not here, which is causing a tremendous amount of feedback.
Hey, come on.
How you doing, sir?
All right. I see you went on and put everything on your headline. Cranbrook Hub Class of 1990.
I thought I was gonna be left behind if I didn't.
Dang, maybe I need to change mine. Nah. Okay, that look a little better.
So I want to welcome you to as we talk about the great journey that is and was Cranbrook, and as it will continue to be, as you know, out of Cranbrook will be celebrated this weekend.
I'm trying to share it on my platform so we can make sure we get maximum coverage.
For tuning in as well as Day.
I'm trying to share it on my platform so we can make sure we get maximum coverage.
For tuning in this evening. And we will then switch over to Kamal, who was a student at Murray Wright. So, Barry, tell us about your experience.
Say that again. You break it up. Can you hear me? Are you on mute, Eric?
Turned up. Turn it down. Kamal and Barry.
What do you mean turn it down? My volume?
Bit.
Is that enough?
I was saying turn your sound down a little bit.
I did.
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, okay. So what was your question?
And
'Cause you
Kamal
broke
looks like
up.
he is frozen.
Are we the only three on?
Yeah, your volume.
That's as far as I can. Can you hear me now? Somebody got music in the background. Hey, Kamal, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I was asking you, Barry, to speak on your experience as a student in the credit writer.
Oh, okay. You want me to go now? Uh-oh. So my journey started in the summer of 1974. I was a student from
So say
Pontiac,
something,
Lincoln.
Kamal.
I'm here. I just had to
It's
move.
not my music. Kamal, say something.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't have any music in my background.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I think Eric keep freezing up.
Can you hear me? Can you still hear me? How about now?
I can hear you, Kamal,
Okay.
but I don't think Eric can hear you.
One second.
I think he frozen. Yeah.
Well, looks like we'll take it over until he gets unfrozen. Basically, what he asked you to do was to go ahead and speak on your experience from being in the program from the time you've joined as a kid until now.
Okay, so my journey started the summer of 1974. I was a student from Pontiac, Lincoln. I did 3 years in the program instead of 4. And if you go back to the 60s and the early 70s, they did five years, but I did only 3. And so as my journey progressed, I think the program was beneficial to a lot of us for the simple fact kids coming out of the city who didn't get a chance to, I guess, get that extra kick in the butt that Hub gave us to develop good study habits. We got a chance to meet people from all over Metro Detroit, meaning Pontiac, Detroit, Highland Park, Berkeley, Royal Oak. And some of these folks I'm still in contact with today after, 51 years from the program. After leaving the program, I attended Western Michigan University and I earned a degree in engineering graphics. Then after that, I worked for General Motors for 34 years. I retired 2 years ago yesterday, which was June the 1st.
Right.
I also worked for the program as a resident advisor in the summer of 79, 80, and 81. Then I came back 85, 86, 87, and 88. Mm-hmm. I also worked in the winter phase from 86 to 97. So I paid my dues. I gave back to the program. I help out as much as I can for career days, college days. And what a lot of you don't know right now is our stories and poems that we wrote as kids are being they're archived, and the photographs that were taken of us and on campus during that time are being archived as we speak. So since I'm retired, I go back on Wednesdays and I help volunteer to put names with photographs. So I've been doing that for about 3 months now. What else?
And can you tell us what what HUB stands for?
Horizons Over Bound. What does it mean to me?
And well, not just what it means to you, but also can you tell Lisa gets on the call or Dylan the concept how it came about and why this year we will be celebrating 6 years based on what was started in 1965.
So from my recollection,
program, I guess what I'm asking.
So from my memory, the program started in 1965. It was a test program started by Mr. Ben Schneider. And I think the first summer there was probably 40 boys, because the program used to be all boys until 1977 summer. They added young ladies to the program. But again, it started as a test educational program, and it seemed to succeed, and it has grown since. The program has changed over the years, meaning you got women in the program. Now they don't have intramurals, and a lot of us from the 80s on back, the program which was called intramurals, which consisted of, it's an athletic program. The young men played football, softball, and basketball. The young ladies played softball, volleyball, and basketball. Now there is no intramurals, but they have an alternative. They got something different that they can do. Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Okay, I see that Lisa, the current director, is coming into the room. So too is the director of development, Dylan Brown. So I'm going to welcome Lisa, the director of the program, into the discussion, as well as Dylan. And I want to say first and foremost, Lisa, you are doing a tremendous job since you have taken over the program. And can you tell the listeners a little bit about when you came on board and your process of becoming who we know as the director of the Cranbrook Horizons Upper Bound?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Reynolds Spooks, and I am the director of Cranbrook Horizons Upper Bound. I joined the program in April of 2021, and we were still in the middle of the COVID pandemic. When I came to HUB, we were meeting virtually. And in June, we decided to try to hold our summer program in person. And so we shortened it from 6 weeks to 3 weeks and created a bubble, and were able to have as much enrichment as we could in a 3-week period. Shortly after that, we moved to a more typical schedule, which was academic programming, 3 weekends a month out of the year and 6 weeks in the summer, wearing masks. And now we continue that program, trying to make sure that everyone stays as healthy as possible. But the biggest transition was moving from a virtual program to returning to an in-person program.
And one of the biggest things I want to applaud you for, Lisa, I have been fortunate enough to know the field, which you have done admirably in such a short period of time. And I know you have heard a lot about the Ben Snyders, the Mr. Washington, Mr. Green, Dr. Taylors of the world. What has it meant to you? What has it meant to you to follow their footsteps?
Well, like you said, they were huge footsteps to follow. Each of them left their own tradition and their own mark on the program. Fortunately, in education, the only way that you are a good educator is that you remain on top of current trends and needs in education. And so a good director would move the program forward and not maintain what had been done in the past. And so it's very easy to follow in their footsteps because they left a very solid program with a firm foundation, that right for innovation and new ideas.
And before we get to talking about the This Is 60 celebration, I do want to bring Dylan into the conversation because without a doubt, Dylan Brown, that one of the best hires that has been made has been Dylan Brown of the program. Dylan, what makes
this is an opportunity to shine light on the program and the amazing alumni base. So appreciate the opportunity and working with you all. I was hired last March of 2024, and the first day that I got in, I was deeply motivated to make a lasting impression. As director of development in my role, I felt like that the main goal was to make sure that I didn't let you guys down. One of the first tasks, and Lisa can attest to this, the first task she gave me was we need to build a stronger base with our alumni and make sure that we tap in with our hub alum and make sure that they're aware and that we're communicating with them as much as possible. So that was like my number one charge. And I'm just working with you all, getting to know you all. Now, I'm from the Detroit area, born and raised on the east side. I wasn't a part of the hub program, but you guys have embraced me and I feel like family. So, I love Hub. I love the program. I love everything it stands for. I love the leadership. I love the people that are connected. And I love the students. I love the impact. The students are they're in a great program and an opportunity to be connected to some dynamic individuals with great leadership. And so to be a part of that, Eric, has been monumental for me, not just professionally, but personally. To be a part of something so special and something that's making such of an impact as Hub is rewarding. I think about it daily. I have this joke in which, I say in all of my previous roles, I used to have downtime or moments where I can sit back and watch ESPN in the office. That's not at Hub. Every single moment, something to do. It's work. It's somebody to talk to. So in my job, I'm just doing my best to represent what's been already the foundation before me. So I'm just trying to carry the torch and do my best to, make sure that I continue the legacy and build something even more special while I'm here. So I'm blessed and honored. I think that God has me in good ground currently. So I'm thankful.
or it just seemed like so much longer. So that just goes to tell how committed you have been to the program and a testament to the great hire made by Lisa to bring, I'm saying to myself, March 2024, wow. It just seemed like it has been so much longer. And you, based on the leadership of Lisa, has spearheaded This Is 60 program. What has that meant to you? Because there's a lot of history and legacy knowledge you have to bring yourself up to date on. And Lisa gave you that charge, and you spearheading this. What has it meant to you?
To be honest, and I mentioned this in my last statement, like it's been a personal opportunity and personal moment for me to just reflect and just think about, how blessed I am. To be honest, Lisa will tell you, my resume did not speak to fundraising whatsoever. I had no, I've done fundraising before in a different capacity, but not to where you give me the keys and I go. Like I've never had that. And speaking to the leadership of Lisa, who's so amazing and dynamic, and her just trusting me and instilling confidence in me to just go out and do the work. I honestly, I came into it, I just knew I love people and I know how to talk to people. And my whole thing, she gave me the confidence, just, do you, be you. And we on your shoulders. If we sink, we on you. But if we fly, we on you too. So I appreciate her instilling that confidence. And this is 60 is special because it's personally it's my only fundraiser that I've been able to lead, but also it's a milestone year. Like I said before, like I think that I'm in good ground right now. I think I'm in the right place at the right time. But to be able to celebrate 60 years of that's funny being dropped into. It's just hilarious being dropped into the fire. Like, as soon as I'm hired, like, yeah, we got 60 years we celebrate next year. But being in the middle of it and just recognizing what 60 years mean, 6 decades of a program that's been getting my friends, family through, some amazing opportunities as, in career and in education. Like you can't really describe. I mean, you guys could do it better, but when you looking at it, you can't really describe how special it is unless you meet an alum or unless you step foot into the hub office or unless you talk to a student or you talk to a donor. Like you really, it's that special to put in words. But 60 years, I'm grateful to be a part. I'm grateful to lead a campaign. I'm grateful to connect. And I'm looking forward. We already talking about 61. So, this is just a stepping stone and we're excited about the future.
And I'm glad to have as one of you. And Lisa, because of COVID, the 55th anniversary was canceled. So you came upon the planning for the 60th anniversary. But before I ask you about that, we do have a viewer on the line that's asking or stating that she's not familiar with the Hub program. It seems to be a great piece of history dating back to pre-Detroit uprising in 1965. So I will put the mantle on you, Lisa, and then Barry, you can follow up. Explain to this viewer what Horizons Upward Bound is.
Absolutely. So Horizons Upward Bound is a college access program. And the goal of the program is to ensure that students, our focus is Detroit, although in the early days it was Detroit, Oakland County, Pontiac, but our focus is to ensure that students, often underrepresented in college, have everything they need to attend and succeed in college. And so we provide academic enrichment, we provide cultural enrichment, we make sure that the students have a peer group that is like-minded and headed to college. That's a big part of success for young people. And we work to instill confidence in the students. Our students often walk through a world where they are marginalized, where people don't believe in them, where they're practically invisible, where people often want to write the story of where they come from and where they're headed. And so we want to teach our kids to write their own story, to be in command of their own destiny, and to have a dream and to put in the work to make that dream come true. This program came about, as we said, in 1965. Ben Snyder was a teacher, a coach at Cranbrook, and he recognized that Cranbrook served a very wealthy, a very white community. And he wanted to see if students from Detroit, if given the same opportunities as the students who attended Cranbrook, would be as successful in high school and in college as the Cranbrook students were. So it's somewhat of an experiment. And so he pitched the idea and he received some funding from the Ford Foundation, and they brought young men, I don't know the exact number to start, but they brought young men from Detroit into the Cranbrook community, provided academic enrichment over the summer, maintained relationships with them through the school year, and saw these young men, many of them, go off to be successful in college and successful in business, giving back to their community. In 1965, 1966, the Department of Education created something called the TRIO grants. And there were 3 of them at the time. There's 8 today, but Upward Bound is part of the TRIO program. And so Ben Snyder applied to be a part of the TRIO program and successfully competed and became an Upward Bound program, which we still are today. And this is a program funded by the federal government that provides about 50% of our operating budget. And they also give us guidelines. And so today, our goals are to serve students in Detroit, particularly students at Pershing, Southeastern, Western, and King. And so we recruit students in 8th grade who intend to attend one of those schools. and enroll them in our program. Our students are first generation in their families attending college, and their families have limited income. And so we're looking at students who really can benefit from the extra academic enrichment. Their families can't necessarily provide tutoring for them, and students who can really benefit from exposure to cultural events and new ideas and opportunities that they may not experience. And often having students who come from families where their parents did not attend college, the parents don't necessarily understand the process. And so we provide counseling on how to be successful in your application to college, in your study schools in high school and through college, so that you can go on and graduate from both high school and college. Like I said, we provide tutoring, academic enrichment, a 6-week summer academic program with a full residential program in the evening. We provide SAT prep. We go to the opera. We go on a college tour with our juniors. This past year, we visited 8 colleges in the Mid-Atlantic. We visit local colleges to make sure that the students are aware of opportunities there. And we just try to make sure that our students graduate from high school on time, have applied for scholarships to college, are academically ready for college on grade level, above grade level, and have the skills and the peer group and the connections that they need to graduate from college within 6 years and go on to become productive members in our communities.
And that's a great answer, Lisa. You also answered the next question from Karen Winston in your answering of the first question, so I appreciate that. And I want to ask all of our viewers to like, subscribe, and share this podcast in addition to sharing the channel Black and White. And with that being said, I'm going to come back to you. I do want to get Kamal engaged in the conversation. And Kamal was a student from Detroit Murray Wright that also ended up attending Cranbrook as one of the Hub Scholars. So what was that experience like for you, Kamal?
Oh, wow. Can I go back just a little bit? I originally came out of one of the original 8 middle schools, which was Pella Middle School. That was one of my how I became a part of the program. A gentleman in my neighborhood told me I should get involved. I had no idea what he was talking about. I went out to the interview at Pella Middle School and was lucky enough to be selected to go. And I did attend Murray Wright High School. And Eric Brown, he likes to remind me that we're both out of Murray Wright High School, and he always congratulates me on being one of the first people to succeed from Murray Wright High School to go to Cranbrook. And the experiences that I had were often very pretty tough, but also enlightening and very much so worth it. The things I learned being out at Cranbrook in terms of how to deal with people, how to understand people's attitudes and thoughts and feelings, and understanding that because that's what they think, that's not how I should be, how I'm perceived by what they think doesn't necessarily mean that how I should live my life. And I'm going to be successful no matter what they thought of me or how I became to be there. When you're a scholarship kid out there, especially back in those early 90s, there's a bit of a stigma to it. And I would tell them, you guys are on scholarship just like me. And they say, what do you mean? I said, did the money come out of your bank account or your parents' bank account? And they would get mad because I would point out that their scholarship was just as relevant as the one I got. Because if it came out their pocket, it would be a whole lot different. And so those are some of the things that you learn how to do. Because basically, when you saw me, I was a big kid, much like I am now. I play football. But so they saw me as a sports person that could play sports, until I was able to get in the classroom and debate with them and show them I had the academic prowess as well as they did, if not better, in often cases.
And that's a great story, Kamal, because one thing about the Cranbrook Horizons Upward Bound program, and Bill alluded to this earlier, we have friendship back 40, 50 years. And had it not been for us being out in Bloomfield, attending Cranbrook, the relationship, familial relationship, I mean, we treat each other like family. And I think that's what makes the program so powerful. And even looking at the comments that are going along the side, I'm not sure if you all can see them, but we're telling people about a program we had no idea existed. We have some of our Cranbrook Hub alums on the line, Cashmere Monroe, Coco Molders on the line, Jay, and I'm not sure of Jay's last name, but he's an alum. He said, hello, Barry. Good to see you. But it just speaks to the type of program that this was. And as we celebrate the 60th anniversary this weekend, we hope to have as many alums come on campus to enjoy this festivity. But it's also about getting people back to campus and getting them involved. And me and Dylan had conversations about the aspect of how important it is to give back. And I'll let Barry chime in on this before I give you an opportunity, Dylan, to speak about the importance of giving back to this program.
So you want me to go ahead?
Yes.
Okay, so I started in the program in the summer of 1974, and I graduated in 1977. I also worked in the program summer of 79, 80, 81, 85, 86, 87, and 88. I also worked in the winter phase from 86 to 97. So I got a chance to experience a lot of students in the program. That's how I know a lot of names. So I remember Eric as a student. I remember Kamal as a student. So y'all making me feel old. So
you guys were my RAs.
Pardon me?
Both of you gentlemen were my RAs.
Yeah. So I feel a little old, but I feel commemorated because I got a chance to get introduced to all of the directors, a lot of the students. And right now, a thing that a lot of y'all don't know is the poems and stories that we wrote as kids are now being archived. And also the photographs that were taken of us are being archived. So I go out, I do volunteer work because I retired from General Motors 2 years ago yesterday. And so I go out to Cranbrook on Wednesdays and I put names with photographs. So I've been doing that for about 3 months now. So again, I chose to do that because I was introduced to a lot of students over the years, a lot of faculty members over the years. So I thought I would be the right person to put names with photographs. And then one thing I always say about the program is, when I was in the program, I considered this program an extra kick in the butt, excuse my French, because it allowed some of us to get good study habits. It gave us a chance to meet people from all over Metro Detroit, which is from Detroit, Pontiac, Highland Park, Berkeley, Royal Oak. And some of those people that I met, 50, 51 years ago, I'm still friends with now. There's a lot of them that you probably never going to see again, but most of them, a lot of them I'm still friends with today.
And I shared this story with, I'm not sure if I shared it with you, Lisa, but I did a picture. I just happened to be at CAS one day because I was coaching a Business of America in human resources for a competition. I just happened to have on my Cranbrook hoodie. And the amount of students that came up to me was like, wow, you went to Cranbrook, Horizons Over Bound was just amazing. And it speaks to the love that these individuals have for the program. Al specifically, Dylan, is who I sent you the picture when I saw him. And every time I see him now, it's like we have been in each other's lives for a long time. But it's just that Cranbrook connection, the friendships that have developed. And that's why this weekend is so important. And again, I just hope that we get so many people to come out to experience what we experience, 40, 50, 30, 20, even the most recent graduates. So talk about the 60th anniversary, Dylan, and all you did and your this weekend, as well as the final event coming up in November 2025.
Sure. So we all know that if you don't know, to the audience, we're celebrating 60 years at Hub. 1965 has been 6 decades of academic excellence, and just as you can see, some amazing people being, exposed and, introduced to some opportunities, countless opportunities that has benefited them for the long run. So 60 years of that. I'm only 30, so I wasn't here the whole 60 years.
I got shoes older than you.
I knew that would trigger somebody. But yeah, we came up when we came up with this campaign. Lisa and I were sitting in the office just trying to figure out, what we would call it, and trying to brainstorm what made sense. And a lot of this was a lot of trust in the alumni base. I mean, it's very important for our alum to understand how much you are valued with your within the program, and how much you matter when it comes to giving back. So we set out a goal to raise $1 million for this entire year. So we started in January. We are currently in June, and then so we're halfway through the year, and then we plan on ending in December 31st. The campaign will officially cease. But the whole idea was to raise money towards the endowment. When you think about 60 years, you start to think about, well, what was the idea behind 60 years? And the idea was for it to be sustainable. So a program that could, you mentioned 1977, there was a pivot. They brought young ladies onto campus. You thought about things. There was somebody that was behind the scenes, whether it was Snyder or whoever was back then, who were thinking about how does this program look for the next 15 years, for the next 20 years, 25 years. So when we came up with this campaign, it was a thought to think about how does this program expand can it get another 60 years? And so when we thought about the campaign, it was to gear towards the comprehensive endowment, which is when you think about an endowment, it makes sure that money is constantly coming out so that the program can be sustainable over time. So that was the whole goal. And then we obviously we broke it out into segments, to which 60 years is 6 decades. So we set out a goal for the alum to raise $60,000 each decade. There are 6 decades. There's the bronze decade, the iron decade, the silver decade, the ruby decade, the gold decade, and the diamond decade. Each decade is from a span of 10 years. So, I think each of you are part of 2 different decades. So the whole idea was to get our alum involved. So there was a challenge to raise $60,000 each decade, and each decade would get a match partner known as a decade deputy, who would match that $60,000 towards the goal. So that's $120,000 per class. On top of that, we had a goal for the greater community, the greater Cranbrook community, to also pitch in. So this is not just Hub celebrating 60 years of Hub. This is Cranbrook Educational Community celebrating 60 years of Hub. This is Detroit. We think about the history that Hub has within Detroit. This is Detroit celebrating 60 years of Hub. So it's been a collective opportunity. It's been a collective deal for all of us to partner with, and we just wanted to send out a challenge to the alum, and the alum have been answering the bell. So shout out to you guys for investing in what's invested in you ultimately. So like I said, we're midway. We're really good spot right now. We celebrating this weekend reunion, which all of Cranbrook come back and celebrate people they have seen. So they will be in, which is John Reagan, our make cover archives projects that placing those films on. It's but ultimately so. And we highlighted for the leadership with.
And before, yeah, that's what I asked me more about the resource.
I have to sign in. All of those things will.
I thought,
Something that does suit and wants to come out through the golf course. Name of it's in Pontiac. You may know the name of it, Barry.
well, it used to be the Pontiac
Come out there to play
Municipal
golf
Golf
between
Course,
12 and 4.
but I think it's Crystal Lake now, I think.
Okay, so Crystal Lake. So that sounds familiar. And I'm not exactly sure where that's at. So Demetrius has that location.
South side of Pontiac. Golf drive and bag.
You think everybody? So Lisa, what is your vision for Cranbrook Horizons Upward Bound going forward?
That's a big question. That's a very big question. I think the motto of the leadership of Hub of Cranbrook since I arrived has been one Cranbrook. And so we're working to eliminate the silos at the Cranbrook educational community. Anyone who knows Cranbrook knows that the resources that are available at Cranbrook are very vast. And the more we're able to connect with their resources, the more opportunities, the bigger our program is with respect to what it can provide to students. And it creates a different cost structure to allow us to get the students out of town and have more experiences. And so Cranbrook Horizons Upward Bound will remain a college access program. We will continue to serve underserved, motivated students who want to attend college. I see us capitalizing more on the talented teachers that we have at Cranbrook, which will give us access to more of the innovative classrooms and other opportunities that exist within the school. We have a new STEM lab called Boost Garage that continues to grow from significant donor contributions, and I want to see us being able to incorporate more and more of the facilities at Cranbrook into our program by utilizing some of the teachers. We also have a phenomenal institute of art at our school and a graduate program in art. So I'd like to expand the art offerings for our students, both in them creating art and understanding art and experiencing art. If nothing else, Dylan has shown me how important that creative side is. If you really let that part of your mind grow, the things that you can accomplish professionally are limitless, they're boundless. And so I really want to utilize the access to art that we have as part of the Cranbrook community. We also have an Institute of Science and working with them to enrich our science curriculum. Again, there's so many resources there, so many researchers, so many scientists, that right now our science curriculum is limited to science programs that are taught at the schools, chemistry, biology, physics, but there's so much more that we could be exploring and more research that we can do. We utilize it more resources available at the Institute of Science. I want to see our growing to a program that's based more on project-based learning. Our students are in school day through Friday. more education, and hotel build skill, but so student and programs, but certainly a lot of things that change. Ask students to help us in how to different and use AI, but we as teaching AI trends in education, sure that their curriculum and change. So we'll have a very make sure that our kids can. There's a lot. There's a lot we have there, but build the programs.
Yale to the nerve, along Horizon Overbound Flight Kamal. Danielle is a Hub scholar. So let me go to ladies first, AG. I know you all were the first when it comes to the fraternity stuff, but let me go to the ladies first to get this on. So you have a great story, Danielle, and I've told you numerous times you have a book in you. First of all, what was your feeder school into the Hub program?
Great question. My entry into Hub was a little unique in that I came in my sophomore year. So middle school, I went to Detroit Edison Public School Academy, a charter school in Detroit. My freshman year, I moved around quite a bit, including spending the end of my freshman year at a shelter for runaway teens towards the end of my freshman year. And then I was at King for part of my freshman year and found out about the program in between freshman and sophomore year. So my entry into the program was a little bit unique, and that literally one person didn't show up for the summer, and I got a spot by like a bunch of phone calls and like grace of God. So that was my feeder school. That was my entry into Hub. It was very unique, but it changed my life, right? We talk a lot about Hub being nothing but a chance, but a chance is everything, right? It's everything. When it like really like for me, I feel like it changed my life, right? It was everything for me.
And with that being said, we had Kamal talk about his experience. I mean, coming from Detroit, being out on that campus, being a border student. I'm assuming you were a border student out at Kingswood. What was that like? What was that experience like? Because it was so different than years ago up at that time.
It was, right? And it was, I mean, Kamal, I definitely experienced quite a bit of, we stood out, right? But it also felt like with the door, right? It's like a way out as well as a way in. Does that make sense? Like you're entering something, and I kind of knew and kind of felt that like if education was like my way out of whatever was going on at home or whatever it may be, and Cranbrook and Hub provided that kind of that passageway, and so Cranbrook we don't have to go into the details. Cranbrook is great. It's a wonderful institution, and it has its challenges as well as a Hub Scholar. But at the end of it, it was an amazing opportunity that kind of like opened up a whole new world. To me, like yeah.
And AG, you yourself, I've known you for quite a few years. I think when you came out there, when I either you were leaving as a student or I was an RA while you were out there, I cannot remember, but we stayed connected over the years. And you are someone that when you went back as an RA, you did some phenomenal things because you have a like a club of guys that guys and girls that really look up to you as a mentor, and that just speaks to the type of individual that is brought out to the Cranbrook Horizons Upward Bound program. I do know you went to Martin Luther King for your high school, Central State for college. What has all of what you experienced in Cranbrook, what has all that meant to you?
All right. Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here. As you said, my name is AG, class of 1987. My feeder school was Newson Junior High School on the east side of Detroit.
Okay. East side.
When I tested at Miller Middle School. So, of course, we didn't go to Cranbrook and get tested. We got tested in Detroit. So then coming to Cranbrook in the summer of '83 was an experience. Coming on the east side of Detroit, driving down Woodward Avenue, making that turn on Long Pine Road. It was very eye-opening coming from the inner city of Detroit to see those big old houses. And then once we got on campus, it was just an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. Of course, Barry was my RA, probably my second year, I think. I think my first year, my RA was Tim Terry. Tim Terry was my first RA, Tim Terry and Anthony Smith. Funny thing about it, though, Anthony Smith was an alumnus of Newson Junior High as well. I think he was a Cranbrook scholar as well. So that was, those were my RAs my first year. To answer your question, Cranbrook was a game changer for me. Coming from the inner city, mid-'80s, Detroit was changing. And you either going this way or you're going that way. There was no in-between back then. And Cranbrook shifted me. I didn't take advantage of Cranbrook my first year. I was one of those kids that need that extra attention. And it wasn't because I wasn't getting good grades. I always got good grades. I was what you call a knucklehead. I was be honest. I was just a knucklehead. And back then, when you were a student and we all had advisors back then. Each student had an advisor. But if you was one of those knucklehead students, your advisor was the associate director. So Mr. Washington was my advisor after my first summer. And he sat me down. And at the time, we switched over from Miller to Bowlby and to Cleveland Middle School.
Cleveland. Yeah, Bowlby and Cleveland, right.
Yeah. So then at the time, Mr. Washington sat me down in his office during the winter phase. Mr. Washington flat out told me, in his own words, AG, if you don't change the way you act, I don't care what grades you bring back, you will not be back the following summer.
Wow.
And that shook me. Because I was like, oh no, that can't happen. So again, it wasn't grades with me. It was me. It was my actions. It was my disobedience. It was my being a knucklehead. So that was kind of my introduction to Upward Bound.
And you bring up something very interesting. It never dawned on me because we both are products, and I guess the tail end of it for you, Kamal, we both are products of the YBI era, Young Boys Incorporated. I went to Miller Middle School. I then went to Murray White, and a lot of those young men from the east side were in the game. Then you had a lot of guys on the west side, Jeffrey Projects, as well as Brewster Projects, east side, that competition. And then you had the Fountain Court, which is, near Pelham. And that drug game, you're right, had it not been for Cranbrook, it changed a lot of our lives in a very positive way because it was so prominent. We could have easily gotten caught up in that. And we both went to school. Detroit King was my neighborhood school, but, I went over to Murray Wright. Should have went to Renaissance, but my parents thought that was too far for me to be traveling on 3 buses from the east side. But it just speaks to what this program meant to us and what it has done for us, because all of us, all these years later, we are still involved with wanting to make sure that it stay around for years to come. And Lisa had to get off. She's no longer on the call, even though her name is still up there. And she has just done a phenomenal job, as well as Dylan, to take on the baton and carry it as if they have been a part of the program for years. And I know when she first got hired, I reached out to her. Me and Dylan connected immediately after he got hired. Every last one of us on this call has stayed involved for numerous reasons. And it speaks to what this program has meant to us. And it's so important that these 60 years become 120 years, 180 years, 240 years, 300 years, because it is that amazing, just that amazing of a program. And any one of you can chime in about what this program has meant to you, and what are you looking forward to this weekend when you arrive on campus in Bloomfield Hills? And again, I'll start with Danielle.
Start there. So first of all, let me start by saying that these reunion weekends, right? I want to give kudos to Lisa and Dylan. I know they've jumped off, but these reunion weekends weren't there 5 years ago when Lisa joined. And she talked a lot. This is the 3rd year, right? So when Lisa talked a lot about integrating Hub within the broader Cranbrook community. There's been some work done recently to really create this space for alumni to come together and connect, to make these intergenerational connections, right? So Kamal, you were talking about Barry and Eric, those were your RAs, and when you were there. So Kamal and Orma, who I saw in the comments, those were my RAs and teachers when I was a Hub student. So these intergenerational connections among alumni, this reunion really creates a space for that. And because if you want Hub, to last another 60 years, it's on us to build Hub, right? And to continue to support it to become, even better and bigger than it already is. So I'm looking forward to being there, meeting other new alumni, and seeing you guys and seeing how we can give back and support Hub in really meaningful ways.
And anyone else can go next.
I'll jump in. I'm looking forward to it. This is my 35th anniversary, so my 39th year involved with the program, and to be here with all of you, all 5 of you, 6, 7 that have touched my lives one way or another. Big brother AG, Eric, and Barry, and being able to be a part of Danielle's journey as well is very touching to me. This is our 3rd year doing this. We have the One Cranbrook initiative, and then I've been a part of that also as a part of the board of governors. Miss Lisa, that's one of the first things she did was ask me to be a part of that on the Cranbrook side. So I get to advocate for Cranbrook in those meetings. These are rooms I never thought I would be a part of, and I get to go quarterly to meetings and advocate for Hub as well as the students of color on campus at large. And it's something that's really great. I can remember the first year we had the Hub students on campus, and when we came out of the academic building in Cranbrook and the regular Cranbrook folks, eyes lit up. Their eyes were big, and it was fun, and it was the funniest thing I ever saw in my life. And I'm looking forward to doing it again this year. My hope is to have more of us for our 60th reunion than them on the quad, as we hang out on the quad for a little while before we transition down to the Parasol. So I'm very excited about this year, the 60th year, being able to work, like you said, Barry, with Mr. Snyder, Mr. Washington, Dr. Green, Dr. Taylor, and now Miss Smoots. It's a great honor, and it's something I really enjoy doing and giving back, because I feel I owe. My life as it is now, I'm able to do because of the things I learned and the people I came across in terms of CK as well as Hub. And like you say, Eric, some of my best friends till to this day, 39 years later, are from Hub. I can call my Hub. I have a Rolodex of just people from my year, 2 years before, 2 years after, who we all still get together and hang out from time to time. So this is a lifelong program for me. And no matter what happens moving forward in terms of the how it's funded, I'm still going to be a part of it because I've been a TRIO program kid. I was a KCP program kid in college. I was a Hub program and the Office of Supportive Service when I was at Michigan State. So all of those programs that came out of alphabet soup have allowed me to become the man who I am, to be able to have what I have and take care of my family, who kept trying to come here and mess with me. I hope you guys didn't hear him trying to make faces at me, trying to make me break character. You know how family is.
And before AG or Barry speak, both you and Danielle bring up some great points about your experience with Cranbrook Kingswood and being a Hub scholar. But you brought up a very poignant point, Kamal. It's also important that we network with them as well this weekend. I mean, it's something I've done. I've been a part of this will be my third year being a part of the alumni weekend. And it's very important to let them know that we are no different than them. You talked about it earlier, Kamal. Their scholarship was the same scholarship that you and Danielle was on. They didn't pay for it, but they need to understand that we're just as much of being deserving out there as they are. And that's very important. That's why I intermingle with them. And they're not going to stop me. I guess a lot of it with my, profession and, just being a very outspoken person. I'm never intimidated by that superiority clause that some people walk around with. So, yeah, take the opportunity to talk to them, meet them, network with them, because, now, which based on Lisa's vision, the one Cranbrook thing is real. So we have a few more minutes. So AG and then Barry, I'll let you close it out, Barry. But AG, your experience and what you're looking forward to this weekend.
Well, I'm looking
And
forward.
make sure you all invite your hold up, AG. Make sure you all invite your network out this weekend as well.
Yep, I'm working on the network right now as we speak. I'm looking forward to just being back on campus and seeing everybody. We always say the Brook, that's for short, but it's always a good time hanging on campus at the Brook. I'm really hoping that we can energize our people to come out. It's very important because Cranbrook has changed a lot of lives. I know a lot of people that Cranbrook has changed, and we got to start supporting the program, myself included. I know I give, but we need to start giving more. It's very important. Without this program, it's a lot of people that wouldn't be standing where they're at today. And that's the main issue, or the main thing that tugs on my heart is the vision that Mr. Snyder had in the late 60s to bring African-American students out there to enhance their lives. That needs to be spoken because a lot of people don't understand the history behind that, the 60s and the riots. And
one of the commenters, not to cut you off, AG, one of the commenters talked about that. The legacy of the program started pre-1967 riot, revolution, whatever you want to call it, but you make us a great point.
About how they were stuck on campus during the riots and how they couldn't get home.
And when you see those old black and white pictures of those first couple of students, the first couple of years, man, that tugs on my heart. In it? No, I ain't gonna go that far. Don't do Barry like that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm always looking forward to Cranbrook. When I was in college, I came back as an RA. Even if I graduated, I worked the winter phases just to be that mentor, that big brother mentor, to give back to what was given to me. We had a lot of. I can go on and name all the RAs.
Did you learn that from me?
Very instrumental. Very instrumental in my life. I mean, we had Barry, we had Dwight, we had Tim Terry, we had Anthony Smith, we had Eric Brown. We had so many big brothers that was RA. My right hand man now, Mr. Ray Sanford, that's my buddy. You know what I'm saying? These are people that were my RAs when I was there. So when I went back as an RA, I wanted to be the same example, and I think I've done that. So I'm looking forward to being on campus, being back at the Brook this weekend.
You have, and all due deference to Barry, I'll let him close it out because you can let us know who coined the phrase "Hub for Life" with the fire stick. I think it was you. If not,
It was me.
okay. So so tell us about your experience. You're the dean of the alumni of this call. Yeah, you are making that face. So you've been very involved over the years, and a lot of respect from alums near and far. So tell us about that experience, what the program
So
has
I've
been
been
to
giving back for a little bit over 46 years. Started off as a resident advisor giving back. I've gone to career fairs, college fairs. I mean, I've done so much. I've given back monetarily, maybe not millions of dollars, but I've given back monetarily. I've had students come up to me in the past and say I was a good influence on them. You kept us in line. But when I look at the whole total picture, I didn't see myself that way as being an influence to people. But then as I got these stories over the years, I said, well, maybe I was an influence on some people. So again, the program started off as a kick in the butt for me, and it helped me to be successful. And the word successful is for 34 years. Hired, like I said, 2 years ago, and I did what I was supposed to do. Never got help people. I can't say anything.
I've won different chapters of mine, and every time because we have friends, but had it not been for the rules, a lot of people give me. He saw that, reward for his
class.
So what did you say?
Class too.
No, he wasn't off the hook like that back then. y'all made him jump on tables, but it's just been an amazing experience, and I think I'm looking forward to this Saturday because we just have been given an opportunity, and Lisa and Dylan, even though they are just 3 years, 4 years or less, you would never know it. They have taken that baton, and not only did they grab it, but they have not dropped it. They are keeping up the legacy, and we owe a lot to what they are doing. We owe a lot to Lisa coming up with this vision for Alumni Weekend and passing it on to Dylan to come up with This Is 60 because we missed out on the 55th anniversary because of COVID. So, again, I'm looking forward to this weekend, looking forward to seeing all of you all of those that will be coming from out of town, Leanna Blackburn, Darshell Ross. I'm not sure if Tracy Hughes are coming from out of town. Danielle coming from out of town. So even though I think Kashmir's coming from out of town, those that are coming from out of town, it speaks to the impact that this program has had on them, that they carved out their schedule to be here this weekend. So applause and safe travels to all of you coming from out of town to be in Bloomfield Hill, Michigan this weekend. And take all the activity.
Volunteer for anything?
I'll be giving to it.
I think everybody is called for volunteers.
I'm doing
For the event. So,
registration.
yeah.
I'll be giving to it.
No, you ain't. They kicked you off registration. You ain't
No.
greeter.
I'm registration.
Well,
Wait, nobody.
that's why they participate in this podcast. The comments program has been to a very informative show, such a great legacy. The connections between all of us is amazing. And again, I want to thank the listeners for tuning in, taking time out of their schedule to listen to the show. And again, Danielle, AG, Kamal, Barry, thank you all for participating this evening, and look forward to seeing you all this weekend.
Hub for life.
For life, baby. Have a great night.
All right, thank you. Good night.